You're listening to the Digital Future Podcast, produced by the Lima Consulting Group. If the best way to predict the future is to invent it, then let's get you ready to do just that. You see, this podcast is created for the visionaries of today who are charged with creating the digital experiences of tomorrow. I'm your host, Paul Lima. From Wall Street to the Pentagon, I've been a part of some of the biggest digital transformations ever done. Since 2004, I've helped executives solve their most challenging problems by founding the Lima Consulting Group, an independent, multinational digital transformation consultancy. Our opinions are our own, we're independent, so no one has editorial influence over our content. Our priority is single. It's to serve the decision makers and practitioners who benefit from these solutions. So, let's immediately get beyond the vital stats and talk about what Adobe's acquisition of Workfront means both for those in industry and for Wall Street. Lima Consulting Group is both an Adobe Gold Partner and a certified and experienced Workfront partner, so our close relationship with both companies give us some insight as to what this acquisition means beneath the surface. This acquisition marked a thunderclap for the enterprise marketing cloud technology providers. And I'm going to tell you why. We'll also go over some things that everyone else is missing about the acquisition. I'm going to walk through the context of the acquisition, who specifically is using these products today, what to expect if you're a customer, the impact the platform architecture has, and I'll address 5 specific unlocks for business leaders. And then I'll wrap up with my perspective of the future of Workfront. So let's start with the context behind the acquisition. So Adobe's $1.5 billion purchase of Workfront is more than a single tip of the hat for the PPM category. What's PPM? It stands for Portfolio and Program Management, which is just a fancy name for enterprise project management software. Now that would include everything from Smartsheets to Microsoft Project. You could include Asana or Wrike, PlanView, MavenLink, OpenAir, and even Slack or Monday.com. It's a huge, broad category. And while many of these companies might bristle at being included within the category, it's because they typically would like to claim a sub-niche within the PPM space. And in the past few months, we've seen some IPOs, notably Atlassian, the owners of Jira and Wrike, as well as an IPO for Asana. And don't forget about the gigantic $27.7 billion acquisition of Slack by Salesforce. So this category is legit. It's established. And the Workfront acquisition promotes the category to a new level. It now embeds what Workfront calls the operational system of record within the digital experience ecosystem. With remote work and the ubiquitous adoption of collaboration tools, we're entering a new era of how work gets done. This is way more than just the after effects of COVID. It's about opening up the transparency within the workflows that drive value and identifying and standardizing the value-driving and cost-driving processes that drive the business. So Adobe just laid down the gauntlet for all others to follow. This acquisition unlocks value beyond marketing. It touches all parts of the enterprise. Adobe just bought the most comprehensive platform, so the followers are going to need to both buy and build in order to reach parity. They're going to need to buy point solutions, say Slack, the way Salesforce did, and then build their own platforms, such as, say, a project management system, and stitch these pieces of the quilt together in platforms in order to provide the type of value that executives want to bring into their organizations. The underlying rationale is that leaders want to scale and standardize their businesses through digitization. And with so many trends working against them, there's no doubt that real-time communication, improved transparency, and a consensus view of how work gets done can bring value. So by the time that the other companies stitch together communication and project management solutions, Adobe should have used their leadership position to redefine the category. And they have a history of doing just that. Remember how in 2009, they shocked Wall Street with their purchase of Omniture. No one understood at the time that their vision was to extend beyond creatives and create enterprise software for marketers. At that time, Adobe sold shrink-wrap packages through big box stores, and they didn't have a partner ecosystem. So remember when you used to go to Best Buy to buy Photoshop? Well, with the acquisition of Omniture for $1.8 billion, which is a pretty close figure relative to the $1.5 paid for Workfront, they built the most comprehensive digital marketing cloud in the market. With additional acquisitions of Neolane, Day Software, Marketo, Efficient Frontier, Demdex, TubeMogul, and many other innovative software companies, and I could go on, they extended their portfolio, but always with the intent to serve the same department, marketing, and the creatives within. What makes this acquisition different is that Adobe can now start new conversations and open new on-ramps with any operational team with nearly any discipline within the enterprise. So think finance or procurement, legal services, field service organizations, and even light manufacturing. But let's focus on marketing departments. Notice I didn't say digital marketing. Who's using these products today? Well, the creatives and marketers are generally the practitioners in most of the products within the Adobe Experience Cloud. But only about 1 in 3 of Workfront's 3,000 customers are current customers of the Adobe Experience Cloud products. So at first glance, that's a tidy overlap, but our view is that Adobe has the opportunity to sell the Experience Cloud to non-Adobe Workfront users, who are generally operational in nature, in order to extend all 3 of Adobe's business units, which are the Creative Cloud, the Document Cloud, and of course, the Experience Cloud. It wouldn't surprise me if Workfront becomes the foundation for a new cloud, such as something like the Adobe Management Cloud. What would you name it? Probably wouldn't be a project management cloud because Workfront has some HR and OKR products and middleware components. But I doubt that Adobe's done acquiring tools in the PPM space. What's in it for customers? Of course, the primary integration lift will probably start with Adobe investing and expanding in native features, starting with Adobe Experience Cloud. But to reach and serve those beyond marketing practitioners, Adobe can more tightly integrate Adobe Sign and even the Adobe Creative Cloud into the Workfront platform. So take, for example, the PDF business and the electronic signature capabilities. Those would be logical fits for further integrations. And Workfront's proofing engine, which itself was an acquisition that Workfront made of Proof HQ in 2015, would also be a good candidate. So this is a natural fit for the workflows that are part of the life of a creative asset. Although Workfront's products were not specifically designed to support marketing workflows, they have seen wide adoption by marketing, advertising, and professional services teams. As a matter of fact, @Task, which rebranded to Workfront in 2015, was the operational system of record for the largest Adobe consulting practice in the world. Who's that, you may ask? Well, that would be Adobe Global Services, AGS. And while Adobe uses another technology platform now to manage that business, perhaps they might return to run the AGS division on Workfront. For existing customers of both Adobe and Workfront, expect an acceleration of Adobe features that will be accessible from within Workfront. Much of the focus within the first year will probably be to pull into Workfront features that would otherwise have required practitioners to log into both systems. So they'll try to unify the user experiences and prevent practitioners from having to bounce back and forth between Adobe and Workfront. These integrations could further be accelerated because it doesn't hurt that Workfront is headquartered in Silicon Slopes, as is the Adobe Experience business unit. And this brings us to the most common use of Adobe and Workfront. The product engineers at Adobe and Workfront have already built tight integrations with Digital Asset Manager, which is the DAM. If you're not familiar with the DAM, that is a tool where you can store your videos and your content, your pictures, your assets. You can put tags against them so that anybody in the organization has the right and can find the right product or services image at a moment's notice. So these integrations accommodate workflows and process maps for practitioners that publish high volumes of digital assets. So think ad agencies and marketing departments, and they usually select Workfront because it has a tight integration with the Adobe Creative Cloud and the Adobe Experience Cloud products. So notice the Workfront Asset Details feature here are set to natively integrate now with the Adobe Digital Asset Manager. Customers of one or the other will have the eventual advantage of one-stop shopping for creative and digital experience tools, and native flow integrations that streamline the process of creating, reviewing, approving, cataloging, and using content and digital assets in marketing deliverables. You can think of it as a complete digital asset lifecycle management tool. Although streamlining workflows is all well and good, Adobe has the opportunity to offer something more, a lot more. You see, business leaders will be able to collect data about the actual process of content creation and then perform analysis of their creative processes in ways that are not typically done or that were just previously too hard to do. First, by bolting on Workfront to the Adobe Experience Cloud, customers will be able to collect data throughout the content creation lifecycle. Then they can organize their reporting in ways that were not typically done. And I'll give you an example in a minute. And finally, customers will be able to analyze data to tie the content creation process to sales. That means that those who track the dollars and cents will have visibility to track content marketing's contribution to sales, to winbacks, to retention, to engagement, right? So there are other use cases, but I offer this one as an example of what happens when you can tie the project management system with a time tracking system and the payroll data that combines all of that with digital analytics. I'll give you, for instance, which graphic designer or project managers have had the most impact on revenue based on the projects and content assets that they delivered? This aspect enables customers to answer questions such as, what's the economic impact of our investments in our graphic design department? Or which writer's copy performed better for each key segment? Another one could be, what was the cost to produce each asset and each asset type? And last example, which campaigns or departments and individual contributors are producing the most value for the enterprise? Ultimately, the ability to connect the dots between the tools and the people, the processes and the profitability shows operational teams what activities are most effective. And planners can better prioritize and sequence and resource their projects. So let's talk about the impact to Adobe's platform architecture. It might take 12 to 24 months before we see accelerated integrations, but Workfront has something most people don't know about. That's an iPaaS, I-P-A-A-S. Workfront has a little talked about offering called Fusion, which is a classic integration platform as a service, an iPaaS, I-P-A-A-S. It's apparently sublicensed from a little-known company called Integramat. Expect to see Fusion rolled into the core architecture of the entire Adobe platform, not just the Adobe Experience Cloud, but what's called the core services. And much of the talk about Workfront's acquisition has focused on Workfront's slick, modern, easy-to-use interface. But there are two additional aspects of Workfront's product line that fill gaps in Adobe's technology stack. So the first is Fusion, and the second is Goals, that was formerly called Align. So the Fusion technology greatly simplifies integration with a wide range of systems and applications, from collaboration tools such as Slack to human resources tools such as Workday. Expect to see Fusion rolled into the Adobe core architecture as a deeply embedded accelerant in overcoming the perspective that many have that Adobe's marketing clouds are walled gardens. The second tool is called Align, or Goals. In November of 2020, Workfront launched an Objectives and Key Results platform, OKR, which enables organizations to ladder organizational goals down to individual tasks and track projects and tasks with regard to stated organizational goals. So this category is really exploding with new entrants and smaller point solutions. Companies like Ally.io, Lattice, Betterworks, and Workboard. These technology components give Adobe an opportunity to build a comprehensive platform for project, portfolio, and program management. A full suite of tools that can replace a disparate range of siloed applications and serve as a single operational system of record. It also allows them to have conversations with IT and HR. So what does this acquisition unlock for business leaders? By centralizing all tasks related to delivering winning customer experiences, practitioners can combine the benefits of mashing up Adobe's Experience Cloud with a platform for how work gets done. The combination unlocks new ways for teams to work together and to even think as well as act differently to accelerate desired business outcomes. So here are 5 specific unlocks that Workfront brings to the Adobe community. The first, activity-based costing. Because Workfront houses the hourly rates, the cost of goods sold, and even the billable rates, financial leaders can directly trace marketing's motions to the financial impact. Leaders can determine the cost to produce each piece of content and each campaign to understand marketing's contribution to sales. So in the example I gave earlier, they could determine the economic value of an asset, a graphic designer's performance over a quarter, or the entire investment in content marketing. 2. Process intelligence. By connecting Workfront to the financial system of record, using the time tracking features, leaders can connect process intelligence tools like Signavio or Celonis to determine the variability in documented processes relative to what actually happened in the activity logs of the real-life processes. So if you haven't bumped into this category of technology yet, it's coming. Process intelligence tools bolt into the log files of systems like ERP tools and compare what happened against the process maps of what was supposed to happen. Leaders can then look to improve exceptions and find the repeatable processes that drive the business. The goal is to catch as many exceptions to the desired processes and steer them into the STP or the straight-through processes using automation and the entire process improvement discipline. 3. Scenario forecasting. Within a financial baseline that accounts for capacity planning, that is, the ability for an organization to produce the work that customers are buying. The organization can begin to identify bottlenecks and the financial impacts of specific process improvements. This answers the question, am I staffed appropriately to accomplish our objectives now and in the future? 4. Robotic process automation. RPA is the fastest growing software category globally right now. And it wouldn't surprise us if Adobe more closely embraces the big 3 RPA providers into their ecosystem, maybe even buying one of them. UiPath, Blue Prism, and Automation Anywhere. Once an organization reaches an understanding of what the process for a workstream should look like, such as a project plan for a repeatable and scalable activity, many of these tasks can be assigned to a RPA or robotic process automation platform to accelerate the execution and to standardize the process and the results. If you're not familiar with RPA, an easy way to think of it is as a recorded macro that's super smart and can handle dynamic and repeatable tasks. So this has nothing to do with Megatron or Optimus Prime, but everything to do with digitizing repeatable processes. It's a big deal because a lot of the multi-million-dollar integrations and projects can be done now through automated front ends and don't require millions of dollars and hundreds of lives to accomplish. Next is business process mapping. If it's true that you cannot digitize what you have not documented, then tools like Signavio and BPM Online are where you should start. These tools are used to document processes and accelerate collaboration throughout the entire enterprise once an organization is ready to graduate from Microsoft Visio. When the organization can point to a document that shows the consensus view of what the process should look like, then it's ready to apply a template for a project plan to it, which is one of the core strengths of Workfront. And last, accountability-based performance models. So business leaders can turn the agency model on its head and pay for the actual financial performance of content and campaigns rather than for paying for hours or marketing motions. Employee bonuses could similarly be based on value creation related to specific tasks and budget to actual variances. So there you have it, 5 use cases of what this could mean to you, the marketing leader. So what does this mean to the future of Workfront? Adobe will probably focus on the marketing use cases and really invest to help business leaders focus on the financial impact of marketing and creative investments. I personally think that Alex Shootman, the CEO at Workfront, will probably leave soon, and the product will roll up under Digital Experience Cloud leader Anil Chakravarthy, who leads the Adobe Experience business. Anil is a relative newcomer to Adobe, but he was a CEO over at Informatica, so his background is a natural fit to understand how to help visionaries capture value from data. I think Fusion and Goals will become core services and roll under the platform in much bigger ways that connect it to the Adobe Experience Cloud. Adobe Global Services will probably adopt Workfront themselves, once again, returning to it, and that means more complex professional service features will enhance the product platform for all to enjoy. That means that large professional service organizations, PS teams beyond consulting, so think financial services, pharma, maintenance, field teams, they'll all benefit from the inside use cases of AGS. Lastly, I think the concept of an operational system of record will become pervasive and influence the way that the Slack acquisition over at Salesforce will be rolled out. We've already seen rumblings that Mark Benioff is signaling that Salesforce is going to be a Slack-first company, meaning that via a chat, you could initiate any work stream within the Salesforce platform. So there you have it. That's the breakdown of Adobe's acquisition of Workfront, what it means to digital executives and practitioners, and some tips that we think will influence not only the Adobe architecture for years to come, but also the future of work. What do you think will happen now that Adobe acquired Workfront? Let me know what you think, and let's keep the discussion going in the comment section below. For more information, take a look at our blog and our website at digitalfuturepodcast.com, where we have additional write-ups, and you can follow up with more resources around this topic. We'll see you in the digital future.